Well, you know, I was brought up in the church, too. We were Methodists, so I guess we were a little more lenient. I don't know.
Had a dancing foot.
But I do have to say that I had early influence because we lived way out in the country, and about every other Saturday, I guess, we would go, my folks would, the whole family would go to town. Well, my brothers went to the Western movies, and they didn't want to take me. And my mother was doing all the family shopping, and she didn't want to take me. So my dad took me, and we went to this little neighborhood bar. Now, this sounds terrible to some people, but I'm looking around at these jukeboxes, and I have such wonderful memories, because I was just a little kid. They get me an orange soda and give me a whole fistful of nickels, and I would play Ernest Tubb records on that jukebox.
Awesome.
They'd just if I'd run out of music, somebody would give me some more nickels, and Dad would play shuffleboard. So, I mean, I had wonderful early memories, and we weren't doing anything wrong. I do want to say this. The honky tonks, we've kind of pictured them as a place to fight and all that, but there's a good side of honky tonks, too. You know, anybody who's ever been lonely or brokenhearted, you go there, and like Mo Pitney said, it's about the music. There's a song that lets you know that you're not the only one who feels that way. Mm-hmm. So there's my commercial for the honky tonk.
I want to say something on that, too. My mother's mother was Church of Christ out in Texas, and she went to dances. Her and Grandpa went to dances, and she never drank or smoked or never said, well, she might have told an ugly joke. I do remember her telling some pretty good jokes, but she said, it's good, clean fun. Right. And a lot of the dances in Texas, especially when my mama was a little girl, they were not just honky-tonk or what we think of as being a dark environment. They were family events. And
social.
My mother told us about having a memory of her grandma's brothers. One of them played the fiddle, and one of them played the mandolin, one played the guitar, I guess. And they played in this band, and they were playing a street dance. And she said, Mama, I was just a little girl. Mama set me up on the wagon. The stage was on a wagon. And she said, Mama set me up there by Uncle Virgil, by his feet. Mm-hmm. And she said, her mother had red hair. She said, I could watch Mama's head bobbing out in the crowd. I knew where Mama was because I could see her. But, you know, the dancing was just such a part of the culture in Texas. And it really was. In fact, this may be too long a story to tell, but my grandmother's people migrated west from, I guess, Mississippi and settled in central Texas near Anson. And there was nothing but prairie and cowboys and ranches and stuff there. And she said they had a Christmas dance they called the Cowboys Ball in Anson, Texas. And my grandmother's mother was a little girl, was maybe 12 or 13 years old the first time they had one of those. And she said, Grandma said her mama danced with all of the boys that had come in from the prairie for this party. And so years later, they started having a reenactment of it. And it's a historic event now. And when Ricky and I were dating, we went, Grandma had begged all of our family to come and be part of this Cowboys Ball. And because she said, it's a big thing when your descendants come, you know. She said, I'm a descendant and you're my descendant, and it's a big thing, and we always do this, the Grand March. She said, we have a descendant of one of the original settlers she said, I want you and Ricky to do that. I said, we don't know how to do a Grand March. She said, oh, you just walk around. So we were dating, and it was Christmas time. We all went out there, and Rick and I led the Grand March, and I will never forget when we walked in the room, and they really didn't have tables and chairs. They had one side of the room had bleachers on it. And then there was a bench that went around like 3/4 of the dance floor. You went through this little swinging gate door. And Mom and Daddy went through just ahead of me and Ricky. And as soon as they hit that gate, they started dancing. I get tears in my eyes thinking about it right now because that was one of the prettiest sights I ever saw was my Mom and Daddy dancing. And Ricky said, don't you leave me. Because he didn't know how to dance. I didn't know how to dance either. You know,
We was too busy playing music to dance.
But
Well, I don't think that we're talking about the church
It was
and religion
it was
and
a
all. I don't
family
think
event.
that necessarily conflicts with the honky tonk. And I'll tell you an example of that. First number one record I ever had was a semi-religious song called Mama Sang a Song. And you do that in a honky. Now, you wait until about the second set when they've relaxed a little bit and they start asking for it.
That's right.
And you have never, the first time I did it in a club, I was scared to death. I figured, somebody will come up here and hit me. But actually, they're very emotional.
That's right.
and they want to hear. And I've heard people sing songs like Family Bible and various things in the honky tonks, and the crowds
we always
love
did.
it. So
We
it's
always
not,
did.
it's
about
not
the
exclusive.
music.
Yeah, it's all about
It's about the music.
the music. Jim Ed Brown,
Yes.
saw you sitting back there singing harmony with Rhonda Vincent on Borrowed Angel.
Let me tell you something. I got the best harmony singer in the country sitting right here beside me.
Rhonda worked in your band at one time, didn't she?
I did.
She did.
1985.
Yes, she did.
I did the show You Can Be a Star, and he hired me on the spot.
That's right. He was hosting that show. How about a song out of Jim Ed?
Oh, me?
I imagine you've played in a few honky tonks and could tell us a few stories. Jim Ed, when the Browns were together and you were touring with them primarily, your two sisters, Maxine and Bonnie, did y'all play many clubs? I would think that your act would have been more for the auditoriums and the county fairs and things than the honky tonks.
We really didn't get into the clubs until I started when I sang Papa Top. But the Browns, we did a few, I guess, but and it was kind of strange because the Three Bells, I said, we can't do that in a club. They can't dance to it because it stops the music, and all that. But we had more requests for that than anything. But you know what? There's everybody has got stories. One of the greatest singers and entertainers that ever was a fellow by the name of George Jones. I went to Texas one time. This is just one time. I went to Texas and had some dates down there. And I went into this one club, and we got there early, and we went in and set up all of our equipment. Well, and we were sitting out on the bus, and George Jones was booked there also. George came in with his bus, and his front man went in to the manager of the hotel, to the club. Hotel. Where'd I get hotel? Anyway, went into the club, and he came out, and he got the money. George had sent him in to get paid for it. He came back out and went to the bus, and George says, "Did you get the money?" And he said, "Yeah." I was sitting there. He said, "Let's go." And I said, "Where's you going to?" Anyway, he said, "Get off the bus." I got off the bus, and they took off. And I called George. I found out from George later. He said, "Well, he owed me for the last time I was here, so I just got the money for this one."
Something like that.
But anyway, who was it that was talking about the chicken wire in front of the stage? First place I ever played was Midland, Texas, that had chicken wire. We got out there, and there was chicken wire in front of the stage. And I asked the people, I said, "What's the chicken wire for?" He said, "You'll find out." Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of great stories that we could tell through the years, but there's a lot of great songs that through the years we've all played and sang. And if you ever wanted to do a dance, and if they weren't dancing like you thought they should be, then all you need to do is go into this song right here.
Far across deep blue water lived an old German scouter by the banks of the old River Rhine. There I loved her and left her, and now I can't forget her. She was my pretty Fraulein. Everybody. Fraulein, Fraulein, look up toward the heavens, pretend that that your hand is holding mine. By the same stars above you, I swear that I love you. I love my pretty Fraulein. When my memories wander away over yonder to that sweetheart that I left behind, in a moment of glory, her face there before me, the face of my pretty Fraulein. Fraulein, Fraulein, walk down by the river, pretend that your hand is holding mine. There I loved her and left her, now I can't forget her. I love my pretty Fraulein. I love my pretty Fraulein.
You know, Bill, we've done a lot of these shows together, but I've never seen the band play any better or happier and smiling as much as they are through this show.
Yeah.
Because
This
they've
is
all
the
been to
music they
honky
love.
tonks and they know what it is. Thank you very much.
That's great. Jim Ed Brown. The band was looking so forward to this show. This is the one I think of all the shows we've done, I've never seen y'all as excited about doing one, because I know this is so much of the kind of music that y'all like to play.